Hey guys, so I brought back with me here David, and he's back because, and by the way, just so you know, David was a guest on my blog a while back, but I brought him back on because we are collaborating on a topic that we feel that would benefit the community, and it's about pandemic perseverance. This topic actually came from David himself because we know with the pandemic how much it's affected the community today. So David, I'm going to ask you, what does pandemic perseverance mean to you, and how do you feel about it?
Pandemic perseverance is understanding that you have specific limitations of not being able to see your friends and relatives in person, even if there is a lot of sadness eating at you. It doesn't change the fact that there are new opportunities ahead and you can utilize your time to use them. One huge thing that has benefited me a lot was weight loss. Starting from August 2020 to now, I have lost 35 pounds. It all happened with doing cardio at the park, all kinds of workouts at home, or sometimes at my brother's apartment, chest, abs, quads, you name it. But also managing my diet by listing what I have eaten on an Excel sheet and acknowledging that there may be days I don't eat as healthy, but then other days I am eating as healthy. It's also about watching what you eat, getting plenty of rest. In addition to weight loss, which is similar to physicality, I am a lover of bowling, which I have loved ever since I was little. I found a bowling center not too far from me, subway distance, with very good deals, a very good environment that I can practice my game in using a competitive format where I am practicing like pretending to be in competition, alternating lanes. The highlight of 2021 was starting with getting some new bowling equipment. That was another thing that I felt more than excited for. My other favorite thing was discovering that there is another way to see people face to face, and Zoom is the miracle that has made us feel more hopeful in terms of seeing the ones we love the most. Celebrating holidays and birthdays with the family, also having my downtime to chat with my travel comrade from first grade, my long life best friend Frozone from summer camp, and other ones that I have not seen in person, even people I have feel so hungry to see as of now.
That's awesome, David. There are things that that it taught the pandemic in a way also taught that we have to be creative in terms about what we do have, and also to be grateful about what to be grateful about with the people we got today, who are with us, and those who even with Zoom, I for me personally, I've gotten to meet people on last year. I've met so many people all because of using with Zoom. I That's one thing I feel grateful about, and also keeping in touch with friends and family as well. Because yes, it can be difficult about with not being with those that with friends and family in person, and at the same time it's because with staying healthy, safe, and everything. But there are ways to be creative of doing activities like David you were saying about with bowling, which that is awesome. I love bowling myself. That was always a sport that I've enjoyed in a way. So I thought that was pretty interesting to hear about that. So I'm very glad you shared about that. And I know, David, that more about this topic is on your blog, correct?
Correct. I do have my own website about autism advocacy and about my world travels, but a lot of my blogging is on autism advocacy because I'm not really traveling right now. So I kicked off 2021 for January 2021 with a blog about pandemic management. That is a relevant one because we are still in this outcome, and that is the thing that made 2020 not the best year for everybody. And and then that kind of gave me the idea to play out some factors of how I've used my time and how I encourage others to use theirs as well. And eventually, I have more blogs I want to write, but the plan is to just do one a month, and I'm not thinking about because I have a lot going on. Another thing that I did not mention before, and that is absolutely necessary, or two things. Reading is even a bigger one, and it's one of my favorites, even if it gets boring. I have worked hard on getting my reading comprehension enhanced. So, I got this book for Hanukkah, Defining Autism from the Heart by Carrie Magro, who is one of my biggest inspirations. And having to process a difficult thing that even made 2020 worse, I had another big inspiration of a legend who meant so much to me in my heart. And I was triggered about my love for this legend in school, but that didn't change anything. So, to display it, here is a poster of Kobe Bryant, who has not been here on this in the world for more than a year ago. But then reading about him, I also have his book that my grandma got me for my 23rd birthday. This is a must read, accessible at Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Oh, and the same thing goes back to this book, which is accessible in both locations, I believe. It's also a Hanukkah gift. Other than books, I am a huge lover of movies, all kinds, you name it. In fact, getting a Best Buy gift card for Hanukkah, I am happy to introduce you a couple of movie collections I got with my Best Buy gift card. You may say hello to The Matrix, one of my favorite science fiction films. Another friend of mine is a lover of that film. I think these science fiction films absolutely rock. One of my favorite in DC Comics, and this is actually related to that mask right next to my belts and keys. So that kind of leads to the Dark Knight Batman trilogy. So I have two other movie collections of one of my favorites in science fiction and superheroes. I love all kinds of movies. And this is a common mistake. Assuming that I only like movies that settle in New York City, that is incorrect. Anytime I wanted to give an opinion and say why I like this movie, I was interrupted repeatedly when someone said one reason. I never had a chance to share my thoughts. Here is another piece of evidence that I can provide to one of my favorite all time films. It's animated. On my new iPhone, these are the stickers of these supers from The Incredibles. If you were to watch the film numerous times like myself, you will see that The Incredibles does not settle in New York City. It may look like it, but evidently it does not. It's some made up city that doesn't even exist. But if you hear that by somebody else, you know that it's not true. So definitely put in your time with reading a new book you can get in the bookstore or online, or even a movie that you may like, that you want to get at a good price. If you can't find it on Netflix, Disney Plus, or if you don't like to watch movies online, like I personally love to use the DVD player, so I don't have to worry about internet problems.
Those are very good points. Like I know for me, like I also enjoy some DC movies, Marvel movies, and I also enjoy reading as well. Like I am a big reader, and funny when you showed about with Dr. Carrie Magro because back in November I was interviewed by Dr. Carrie Magro, and
I watched that interview. It was so amazing. I have yet for him to interview me. I've been sending in some submissions and I may write a follow up, but sometimes he's hard to get in touch with because he is absolutely loved by so many in so many ways. He manages a whole lot that I can't even understand. He is more than amazing. He has definitely done a lot more than myself, and that is never a bad thing. That motivates me to get to where he is and to be exactly like him. Just because another autistic individual is meant to be a little or almost highly recognized than myself, that does not make me envious. That doesn't make me have hard feelings. That encourages me to almost be like where they are, get to where they are, because eventually more and more will get popular. And I have that dream to get my name even somewhere in images out on the screen like themselves.
awesome. Very cool. David, I want to thank you so much for coming back on and getting to talk about with the topic and everything and for sharing your tips of just developing perseverance through this pandemic.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure. I have a lot of creativity that I want to bring to the table when I persevere with this. And boy, I am sad right now. I'm just not I'm just not uttering it repeatedly. Yes, I may reveal it. It's just I'm not pushing it out too hard.
Right.
I'm
Right.
not taking it out on anybody.
Mm-hmm. Right.